What's the current time frame for a marriage-based green card case? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States at our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And I say those three cities, but we do practice all around the country, and we really mean it. Only about 15% of our cases come from the home office here in St. Louis. In any event, we're talking about marriage-based green card cases. And I just got off the call with a very lovely couple, Mike and his wife, or his fiance, I should say. And that's the interesting thing. I have these conversations all the time with U.S. citizens or green card holders and people that they're thinking about getting married to or that they have married, and everybody wants to know what's the time frame, what are the moving pieces, and how can we expect this process to go. So if you are a U.S. citizen and you marry a foreign national, you can file an I-130 petition for alien relative, and that is a statement by a U.S. citizen that I would like to bestow or grant or give a immigrant visa or ask the government to give an immigrant visa to my spouse. And I want them to be able to adjust their status. So along with the I-130 petition, the immigrant is also going to file an I-45 application for adjustment of status. So those are the two main forms that you file. And along with those, you're also going to submit an I-131, which is a application for advance parole. That's permission for the immigrant to leave the United States while the green card case is pending. And you're going to file an I-765, which is a request for employment authorization, a EAD, a work card. And then alongside of that, you're also going to submit the medical exam results, which is the I-693. That's going to be filled out by the civil surgeon, and you should submit that with the initial application because that means that you might be able to get your case approved without an interview. The last form is going to be the I-864, which is the affidavit of support. That's the form filed by the U.S. citizen saying that if the foreign national receives government benefits and doesn't pay the government back, that you, the petitioner, will pay them back. And you have to make a certain amount of money. And if you make that money, then you can be the sole sponsor. Otherwise, you might need a co-sponsor. So those are all the forms that you're going to complete. And so let's just do a hypothetical. Let's say somebody gets married on January 1st. And they apply for a marriage-based green card 3 or 4 weeks later after they get the marriage license, after they get the medical taken care of. Let's say that they apply on February 1st. Well, right now in 2024, these cases, for the most part, are going along pretty slowly. A very small section of cases, I'd say less than 5%, are happening very, very quickly. I think USCIS is doing that just to keep themselves in the news and to have people telling stories that some cases are going faster than others. The vast majority of cases, especially those cases that have been pending for a while, are taking about a year and a half to get resolved. So the typical time frame is you file February 1st, you'll get receipt notices back maybe the third week of February, the middle of February. Then the foreign national, if they haven't been fingerprinted recently by the Department of Homeland Security, will be asked to come in for a biometrics appointment, which is fingerprinting and photographing. So let's say that happens on March 15th. Then USCIS is going to conduct a background interview or background investigation. They're going to try to figure out, is this foreign national a good person? Are they inadmissible to the United States? Do they have any kind of criminal record or criminal history that would keep them from being eligible for adjustment of status? Once they're satisfied, then the case will be proceeding. Now, one thing that's divergent, depending on what the status is of the person who's applying for the immigration benefit, is how quickly they get their work card. I am convinced that if the foreign national was out of status at the time that they married the U.S. citizen, USCIS is taking longer to approve those work cards than they are for people who were in status, like say on a student visa or a B1, B2 visa, when they applied for adjustment of status. So that's a real issue that you need to be concerned with. But generally, we're seeing most work cards come in about 3 to 6 months from the time of biometrics. Like I said, some are getting them very, very quickly. Some of them are getting their advanced parole very, very quickly. Now, advanced parole is sort of its own thing. Those are really taking about a year for the most part. Most people are waiting a full year to be able to leave the United States. So that's one of the things you need to think about if you're applying for marriage-based adjustment of status, and that is that the foreign national might be stuck in the United States, unable to leave for about 7, 8, 9, maybe even 12 months. And that's important because if they leave without that permission, then they're going to be deemed to have abandoned their lawful permanent resident application, and they're going to have to start over. And with fees increasing, that's sort of the last thing you want to do. So I always tell people, and I just told that lovely couple, that if they're thinking about doing this, they're going to need that window where the foreign national is comfortable staying inside the United States. So if they have a wedding for a friend planned out of the country, or if they were going on a trip out of the country, they really need to navigate that timeline, because once you file the 45, you're sort of stuck in the United States. And if you don't have work authorization, then you might be stuck on the shelf, unable to work until that work card comes. Now, along with the delays for the green card, we've also seen delays for those work cards. So one of the things USCIS has done to try to speed those things along is they've separated out the work card from the travel document. Some people still get both. I don't know why or what's going on at USCIS, but the thought is that they can get work cards out faster for people if they don't couple it together with the advanced parole. I don't know. So the majority of cases right now are getting approved without an interview, but we are starting to see an increase in the number of actual interviews. And so if you get an interview, that again would be after the background check is completed, and it would probably be 7, 8, 9 months after the biometrics have been completed, depending on how busy the field office is. Field offices in really big cities like Atlanta and Seattle are sort of slow. Field offices in smaller places like Des Moines or San Antonio, Texas, those are going a little bit faster. But eventually you're going to have an interview, and at the interview, the officers are going to go over the I-130 application, go over the I-45 application, make sure that the relationship is valid, that it wasn't entered into to obtain an immigration benefit, but rather because the couple loves each other. And then the 45 is to see whether or not the person has any reasons that they are inadmissible. All those questions on there are designed to figure out if there's a statutory or regulatory bar on this person becoming a lawful permanent resident. So assuming everything's okay, then the case should be approved at the interview or shortly thereafter, and then the foreign national should get a green card. If the couple has been married less than 2 years on the day the green card's approved, they're going to receive a 2-year green card. If not, they'll receive a full 10-year green card. If they receive that conditional green card, that 2-year green card, then around 2 years from then, they're going to have to file an I-751 petition for removal of conditions to try to get the spouse a 10-year green card. And then a year after that, if everything's okay with the marriage, they can apply for citizenship. So that's how somebody would go from being out of status or on a non-immigrant visa to becoming a U.S. citizen through the marriage process. Hope that makes sense. This is the number one case type that we have in the office, other than suing USCIS. Marrying a U.S. citizen and applying for a benefit, or a fiance case, or an overseas visa case. These are the main type of case that we handle here in the office. We do, employment stuff and asylum and citizenship, all that stuff. But oftentimes we're spending a lot of time on these marriage cases, and we really like working on them. Obviously, we like helping people start their lives together in America in a safe and productive way. If you have any questions about hiring us, if you're thinking, boy, I'd really like to have Hacking Immigration Law represent me, give us a call, 314-961-8200, or email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. If you're just looking for free information, totally cool. I invite you to join our Facebook group. It's called Immigrant Home, and you can find us there in Facebook. We also have the Immigration Answer Show, which is a live show that I do on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you should. You'll get alerted whenever we go live on the YouTube channel. You can also text the word show to 314-470-3300 if you want to get a text to get the link to the waiting room when I'm going to go live next. And like I said, Immigration Hacking is our TikTok handle. We'd love to have you follow us there. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.